You said 1 minute, and then you said 1 o'clock.
Okay. All right, everybody. Hello, hello, and hello, and hello, and hello. You can just put it down until we need it. We'll let you know. All right, everybody. We're going to start here in about a minute, 30 seconds. Let me know when we're live, okay? We're live now. Hey, I'm live. Hey, y'all. Good to have all of you watching. Those of you that are watching online, thank you so much for being with us today. We are here. This is our brunch. And hello, Merrill in California. Thank you for recommending the book. We appreciate you so much. And we spoke the other day, and I'm just thrilled about it. And all of you that are here, smacking and chewing, that's good. They have grits, and they have bacon, turkey that's a sausage. Turkey, is it turkey sausage, really? And these wicked little good biscuit things. They're biscuits. The biscuit. Those are the brown the blueberry muffins. I don't know. I'm right. Blueberry muffins. That's right. And so if you're watching from home, and that was Brian who walked across the screen if you missed him. So anyway, I'm really glad you're with us today. And I hope that you are ready for a fun time and fun discussion. What you can do is type in your thoughts or questions. We'll see them. And so we'll be able to hear your questions and be able to answer them for you. This is a wonderful book. It has been wonderfully put together. I wish I had told Brian to play from my website. You can't pull up my website, can you? Can you? No, you can. And can you put it up? Can you put it up? No? Yes. I didn't think about this beforehand. That's Sheila Bishop. If you see her back there behind you, that I just want you to know all the people that walk in front of the camera who they are. I'll name their names for you. But what we're going to do is we're going to if you go to Ricky Temple, it's shortcut. Just go to rickytemple.com and click on Read with the Pastor. And if you go there, there is a video that the author has. And let me borrow OC. So let me borrow your book. Let me borrow your book. Thank you, sir. Thank you. There you go, buddy. And this is Miss Short wrote this book, Laurie Short. When changing nothing changes everything, the power of reframing your life. I am a big believer in reading. I think reading changes everything in your life. It takes you places you couldn't go, helps you see things you couldn't see. And I like small gatherings where you have small conversations or big conversations about reading. How many of you like the book that are here? You do? Okay. Now, what we like to do traditionally is I want you to tell me what you liked about the book. What is it that's fun for you? And if you like me, I'm going to silence my phones. Okay. Everybody do that. If you like, or at least put your phone on something so you won't be distracted by it too much. But if you got somebody important calling you, just put it on silent. Okay. And, but give me a quick summary of what you liked about the book. Something you thought was fascinating. I'm going to give you, if you've not read the book, I want to give you a quick summation of it all. And maybe that's probably a better place to start. Let me give you a quick summation. And my commitment is you don't have to read the book to be a part of the conversation. But the conversation is kind of interesting if you read some of it at least. And what I do is I take ownership of my books. As a matter of fact, let me give you my 4 little principles that I live by. First of all, reading changed and broadened my life forever. That's one thing I want to say. Number 2, reading should be done in small chunks and enjoy. Come on, say small chunks and enjoy it. Don't rush through it. You know, I'd rather you not read the whole book and read a little bit of it and really like it than to try to cram everything. Reading a whole book is nice, but who owns the book? You do. So come on, say, I own it. So you determine how much of it you need to read. You determine how fast you read. You determine this whole section has nothing to do with me. And it's one of those things I've learned in academia. Whenever you have a lot of reading, and in some of my education I've had like too much reading, you learn to read what you need to read. So what I do is I scout a book out first. And you start off in the table of contents, read the back, front, because that's generally when you write a book, this is like the point. Every book has one main point, one big message. That's how you know you have a good book, because you can say what this book is about. So what is this book about? What's the one big message in this book? What's the one big message? Wait, Mike, what's the one?
The different parts of your life are part of a bigger story. Basically.
Okay. One big, anybody else? Perspective. Okay, that's good. I'll let y'all just let them talk loud until I want to have this thing talk. What's the one big point? Your thoughts. Your thoughts. Okay. What else? Somebody else. Looking.
Different lens. Looking at it through a different lens.
Okay.
What you're going through.
Okay. And what else? Want to say something?
About the same as her, just looking at your situation a different way.
Okay. So it's all about looking at life through a different lens, through a different way. And so that's why there's this big lens on the front of the book. And so there's 4 parts to it. Now I have hand signals that help me remember this. Okay. Ready? Here we go. 4 hand signals. So the first thing is you look through the lens of the what lens? Big lens. Come on, everybody say big lens. So you look at the big lens, then you look at the present lens, what's happening in life right now. Then you look at the rear view lens, what happened in the past and how that affected you. And then you look at what's the last lens? Higher lens, right? From way up in the satellite. So the goal is for you to figure out how to look at life through those different lenses. Each of those different lenses helps you see your life differently. Sometimes you need to look at the present. Where am I right now? Sometimes you need to look at the past and how the past impacted my thinking, how the past impacted my perspective. And then you need to look at the lens that has to do with, I love this thing, the higher lens. I thought that was really cool, because sometimes I call it looking from the satellite and looking down, seeing the bigger picture and seeing how that affects everything. So that's, for me, one of the great things. Now, if you want to see the video where she talks about it, it's rickytemple.com. You can click on Read with the Pastor. It is the book of the month, I call it the book of the season. You can go in there and it can be an amazing help to you. Now, let's talk about what's important to you, highlights in the book, things that you thought were really special, something in there, a story or something that really spoke to you. Somebody tell me something that really spoke to you in the book that was amazing. Anybody at all? Okay, pass the mic to her. And let my friend tell us about
it. The Our Father prayer, how it was written together, and then how she broke it down and explained each section, that He is all of our Father. So that's what.
Let's hand him back that mic. Oh, see, something's wrong with that one. I'll just walk around to you, because that mic it needs prayer. We don't need to have that all day. All right, somebody else. What spoke to you about in the book? Any part? Yes. What spoke to you?
I think the main thing about the real view is that you can kind of look back in your past to see why you might be doing some of the things that you do right now. That's what really spoke to me. You know, it means a lot, because of, you can't change unless you can figure out what happened. And so, and a lot of times, just looking back where it started, then that could help you to move forward.
Anybody else? I want to hear what's your let's see, what's yours?
The one thing that stood out is having many gifts, but only appreciating it and recognizing it when it's taken away.
Many gifts and not knowing to take away. Somebody else. Yes.
When she talked about God as I am, God is saying I am, and how he sees you in the present, you need to live in the present. And I was thinking about when I was working, how they always talked about mindfulness and being in the present. And I always like, I don't know if that's for being a Christian, you know what I mean? So then I was like, well, hey, she's saying God said you need to live in the present. So I was, that changed my view a little bit.
Yeah. The temptation is to live where? In the past, right? And in some ways, if the past is helping you properly see the present, I give you an example. There are times when I'm unfair to me, right? And I feel like you should have done this or you should have finished that. And I'll say, wait a minute, Temple, what'd you do today? You preached 4 times. You talked to how many people? I think you have a right to be tired. Make sense? So if I look at my past and what happened that day, I'm fairer to myself in the present. So sometimes I think it's really important to balance those two out, because I really think sometimes we forget where we are and how we got to where we are. So some people, for example, they have a very difficult time in love relationships. They have a difficult time in any kind of love relationship. The problem is they don't have a good love history. So when they come to a love relationship, they bring all that baggage with them to the relationship and they struggle. And so it's hard for them to trust. It's hard for them to give. It's hard for them. Once somebody blows up all your money, the next time you get some money, you know what I'm saying? Because of your past, you're more prone to say, hey, no, you can't see all my money. I see this when I counsel people who've been married before. And, the last person took all the money, all the furniture and everything. And so now when they get married again, they're like, listen, you can see $50 and that's it. But that's because of their past. So I think it's a powerful book to help you know the power of looking through all the different lenses. And the real thing is to get to a higher level where you can look down and see it all and then put it in its proper perspective. This is a new person. They didn't do it. It doesn't have to be that way. I should have been more attentive. You know what I'm saying? You start learning how to place things in the right place. And I love the fact that helps regulate your perspective. You change everything. What's the title of the book again? When changing nothing changes everything. So the whole concept to me is powerful because it's all about you seeing things correctly. That's the whole thing. And if you change how you see your marriage, your life, your money, yourself, everything around you will change. Who else had one that they saw? Something in the book? Yes.
All right. Page 8, second page you see in the book. Blaise Pascal, I don't know if I'm saying the name right, accurately observed, there's enough light for those who choose to see and enough darkness for those who are of a contrary disposition.
So what does that mean to you?
If you want to be happy, you can find a way to be happy. If you don't, it's your fault.
Drop the mic. Okay. 12 years old. He get that. You see what I'm saying? You want to be happy. Be happy. Anybody else? I guess what would probably be great. How many of you use a Kindle? Only 2 of you, 3 of you. Okay. What I like about Kindle is Kindle allows you to have, and I hope I convert you. I'm a fanatic about Kindle, and especially when my device works right. There you go. And the reason I am is because what you can do is, for example, if you have an idea and you mark it in your Kindle. So for example, you see right here, well, I have it marked in red, right? You see that? Yes, I did already. I'm sorry, I'm turning pages. Okay, you see it in red? Thank you. See that? So what I can do is I can mark it. Now, a lot of people say they like to have a book in their hand. The problem with a book in your hand is you can't take it anywhere unless you take it everywhere. My books are always with me. I have a couple of thousand books on here, and that is probably an insane number, but it's true. And I stopped buying handheld books because I can't use them for research. I can't search them. So with this, I can search anything. So you ever have part of a book and you're trying to say, oh, they said, and you can't remember. You know the quote, but you can't find it, right? So I used to mark. I have a system when I do use a book, regular hard copy book. Well, I create an index in the back of the book. Greg Formey taught me this. He did this. It's a really cool plan. You put an index in the back of the book, and then you number what I call my big points. And I call my really big points, I call them my WTB. Say that with me, please. Come on. Now, my WTB is mean worth the book. If this book costs $12, it was worth it. I spent $12 to hear this one thing. And so I learned how to index my books. So what I want you to do kind of as we go through these books together, just kind of say, okay, is this my WTB? Is this the part? I paid $15, $20 for this one point. It saved my marriage. It's worth it. It saved my life. And so I get to do that when I highlight. So when I see something that I like, and you probably can't see it. Let me see if I can do it. I'm gonna get back here so you can see me. So if I like this part right here, I can do this and do that, and then bam, it's highlighted. Did you see that? That magic. This is cool, right? So that's I'm reading something, and I like that. And I go, oh, I like that part. I just hit that like this, touch it, and go like that. There you go. Bam, there it is. Highlighted. Then I touch a little light up here. There's a little thing I can touch on a good day. Close that. Okay. Fancy. Come on, fancy. There you go. I touch up here, and then there's an index on the side. And all the things I highlighted are marked for me. And then when I come to you, I can say, I star those things, and I can say, okay, I want to talk about this and that, not this. And so here's the deal. I read one time, I mark one time, and I keep it forever. And it's on my cell phone. It's on my computer. It's everywhere I go. So sometimes you hear me quoting stuff because my wife is always saying, how do you know the page number? How do you know? You know, and I, for research purposes, and because I have to do my sermons, I do my sermons way ahead. This allows me to do that. Now, what am I teaching on this year? What's the theme this year? How to protect your future. Okay. It's new. I just started. I know. Say it with me, please. Say how to protect your future. Now, the way you protect your future is to improve your thinking. That's the answer for the whole year. So all year long, I'm going to talk about how we think about this, how we think about that. And that's what this book is about. This book is about how to improve your thinking. And so you tell me, what does this book say is the way you improve your thinking? How you improve your thinking? By changing your perspective, by understanding what's around you, but changing the way you look, your lens. And there are 4 lenses. Which lenses are there? Lens number 1 is what? The big view. Okay, hand signals, right? Come on. What is it? Ready? The big view. What's the next view? Present view. And what's the rear view? And then the higher view, right? And so if I can get you to see, okay, that's one way to improve your thinking. Change the way you see things. And so throughout the year, we're going to take each month another thing that we need to look at. So the first sermon I just did was called Thinking About What? Thinking, right? That was last week, right? It's on demand. You can go see it. Thinking About Thinking. This book helps you think about how you think. And the arguments it makes are profound. So in my look here on my Kindle, I'm going to let you ask me questions too, by the way. If you got questions, whether online or in person, feel free to type them in, and Mr. Brian will see you, and he will say, they have a question for you. So let me see if I can get back in. So here's my top, what I call points. Come on, do what I tell you. All right, these are my top points. So what I've done is I highlighted them, and these are the things that I thought, and I'm going to give you like 3 of them, that I thought were amazing. When we choose to focus, where we choose to focus makes all the difference in what we see. Where we choose to focus. Now help me understand. Where do religious people tend to focus? Church people. Church, religious, what now? Religious activities. What else? Where do they tend to focus? Where? Job. Okay. Religious people, are they practical? Let me ask you a couple of questions. Are they practical? When you talk to a religious person, do you get a practical conversation? No, you don't. What kind of conversation do you get? You get a practical conversation. Talk to me? Really? Okay. Okay. What do they talk about? Religious stuff. Okay. What lens do they look through out of the 4 lenses we talked about? What? The rear? Okay. How many say religious people tend to talk about the rear? Okay, let's vote. How many think religious people talk about the big view? No. Okay, I got one maybe. Maybe. How many think they talk about the present view, what's happening right now? Vote. Let me see. Vote. I need to vote. I need to vote. No. 2. How many think they talk about the rear view? I got more rear view. Religious people talk about the rear view. So what do they talk about in the rear? What happened in the past? What else? What happened to your past? So when you meet a religious person, sometimes they want to tell you, let me give my testimony. Let me tell you what happened to me, where Jesus brought me from, right? And I'll see people, they'll meet me for the first time, and they'll say, can I get an appointment with you to tell you all about my past? They do. I get that sometimes. And I'll say, really? It's going to take a long time. That's what it's going to take a long time. And I always go, boy, that sounds fun to hear about all that happened to you. When you go out on a date, right, and you're single, what's the temptation if you're not careful? Talk about your what? Past. And it's all negative. Who hurt you, what happened to you. Okay, how many religious people talk about the higher view? You see that? Wow, I'm not getting any votes on that one. What do you mean? I'm trying to understand why you think they don't talk about that. What do you mean? Why wouldn't you vote for that? What's in the higher view that they don't talk about? They can't see past the circumstances. Who can describe the higher view to me? What's the higher view about?
Well, and I love this section. It talks about there's a purpose as the things that there's so many wonderful nuggets in this. I think for me, the higher view talks about there's a purpose for the pain and the struggles that we go through. And some people can't seem to, well, if you fix your mind on the pain, then you somewhat become obsessed with the woe is me, self-pity mentality. But if you see your pain as a higher purpose to maybe help someone else, and all of humanity has some type of pain or struggle, but I think she says it's all packaged kind of differently. We all have, different circumstances. But I think sometimes as religious people, they can get out of the rut of just soaking in the pain and thinking that, that's my calling, but it doesn't really help anyone else sometimes.
Okay, now watch this. Most of the time when it comes to religious people, and Sheila Bishop's going to chime into this one, I want Sheila, because I know you think about this kind of stuff. You do. I'm sorry. You get over it. When I describe the way that, and you can close that door for me if you would. When you describe the impact that the way you think affects a religious person, what is it that stops them from thinking up here, the higher view? What is it, in your opinion, Ms. Sheila Bishop, that stops them? And what you read in the book, kind of give me your thoughts.
And what is it that stops religious people? Well, the first thing that comes to mind with it is we tend to judge everything through the lens of scripture. We tend to judge everything through our own experience in terms of where we are and how we define right and wrong, versus being open to think broader and thinking the big view of what is this really saying. That's the short answer. I'm not sure. Is that right?
Who agrees with her? You do? You want to comment on it?
Yeah. One thing that I found here in the introduction, and it was talking about why we need a dimensional view, and it says, "Don't compare what you know about yourself to what you don't know about someone else." So yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. That's powerful. So we have absolutes, absolute rights, absolute wrongs. Are we ever wrong? No, but I mean in our thinking. No, because we have the word, and our definitions, our interpretation of the word is the only definition and the only interpretation. So if you are a Pentecostal, those Baptist people need to come to God. The real church is the Catholic Church. The real church is the, see what I'm saying? We tend to be very, very, very narrow in our perspective and focus. So if I were to try to make I'm probably stepping way in the danger zone a little bit. Here we go. How does this lens thing, right? How does it, hold on, it's going to be okay. Can you see how that can affect your politics? Just for a minute. I mean, just for a minute. My wife asked me a great question. She's been listening to the book, and she asked me a question on the way here. She said, how do religious people think the way they think when it comes to politics? What do you think impacts them? What do you think causes them to think the way they think through the lens they think of? What do you think causes that? Your own?
Yeah. I think your own personal experience kind of drives everything that we do. You know, your own personal pain, your own personal struggles. And that to me is an indicator of politically who you think is going to answer your individual problems, not maybe the goodwill for everyone, but just you specifically.
So let me ask another question. Okay, yes, sir.
Well, I believe you said that religious people look at stuff mostly. We all agree that they look at stuff mostly through the rear view. If you're looking at stuff through one lens, rear view or any lens, you're only getting one perspective of something totally. Versus if you're looking from a higher lens, you're trying to bring it all in. So if you're looking at stuff through only the rear view lens, you're only judge a person or where they come from, not where they're going. And that's on a political level, any level at work or male, female, because everybody go through stuff regardless.
That's good stuff. I like that. Now watch this. Now this is what I said to Diane. Okay, we were talking about this on the way in. How does their theology affect their lens? Can you see how their theology can affect their lens? It makes it one-dimensional. So give me a verse, a theological way of thinking, okay? And then just kind of give me a verse. Can you think of a verse? Right? Can you think of anything? Yeah. I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life. True? No man comes to the Father but by me. That's the theological position. Good verse? I'm with the verse. Come on, don't get nervous. I'm okay. Okay? I'm not backsliding. I'm okay. But here's what I want you to think about. What does that verse, just for a minute, what does that say if you read it through the wrong lens, right? If you get the wrong view of that. I am right. I am the only one that's right. And there is nobody else who is right but me. So I am, now Jesus said, he can say this, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the light. If you're not careful, you'll think you the way, you the right. You see what I'm saying? Your theology can get mixed up in there, and you can start seeing things through the wrong lens, and you can start drawing conclusions. So that when it comes to your politics, you become very fixated. When it comes to not just politics, anything, you become very fixated, very narrow. For example, when you come in the family, when you walk in the room in the family, and nobody in the family is a church person, nobody in the family goes to church. When you walk in there, what do you feel? Jesus sent me here to get all y'all to come to God. Jesus, hallelujah. We're going to have a prayer meeting up in here today. Get everybody saved, right? So here's the problem. You're not up in the higher lens. not up here. You seeing it from where you presently are, and you're not considering anybody else's past. They may see you as the one who sold them marijuana years ago. Drug dealer. They still high and you got free, but they still high. They may see all kinds of other things. But religious people, we're not careful, our theology and our approach can become so narrow. And what's really good about God is his ability to get up and see from the satellite, and he can see past a person's sins, past a person's failure, past a person's weakness. We have a challenge with that. Tell me why. Why are we struggling with that? Why can't we see from another lens?
I think it's piggyback on what she said. You've seen it from your perspective. And it's so interesting because I had a conversation with his dad last night. And it's about the one, the rapper named Lil Nas. And you think he was talking about homosexuality. When we look at it with our own lens, you only see that view. But from God's lens, he could see that child's past. He could see what he went through, why he's that way, why he thinks the way he thinks. Even if, you quote the scriptures, homosexuality is an abomination to God. The person may be going to hell. But then we don't know how God think. What God sees everything. He sees the child's past. He see him growing up. He see the confusion. Even when he says in the words that he will give him over to a reprobated mind, God still sees the big picture, and we only see right here. And we become so heavenly minded that we're no earthly good, where we can't see past that person's sins. And God still loves them. He loves everybody, like you just said, within their sins. And we don't, I guess, even as religious people, we can't get past that or even past our own.
Now watch this. Now, I didn't bring it up, but since this is brought up, watch this. If you ask me a question, what is the thing that you deal with the most, Pastor Rick? It's not homosexuality. It's adultery and fornication. Them is the top 2 gold medalist sins in church among religious people. Very few people, think about of the 10 people how many of them are gay or homosexual. Very few people compared to the larger. So I'm not saying, and here's what's important. I think our language, even in describing it and cherry picking the favorite, I want to say this kindly, mean verses. I mean, they're tough verses, but why are we not talking about these verses that talk about 95% of our issues? Why are we over here picking on these 2 verses, 3 verses, 5 verses that talk about a specific issue? So here's my problem. I don't know the review. I don't know what happened in that person's review. And I don't know what that person presently is really thinking, because most time we don't talk to anybody. There's no present tense conversation. It's just an assumption. And so we tag the conversation with inflammatory language that makes the person unable to even communicate to us what they do feel. So let's just say, from God's perspective, he's looking down and he's looking at their issues, and he's saying, okay, I see the person. I don't see just the problem or the issue. I see the what? One more time. I see the. If I were to ask you to name a person, okay, now I need you to do this carefully. You can't say anybody that anybody in here would know. You can't say a name that anybody in here would almost know. You need to say a name of somebody that nobody in here is going to know. And I'm going to ask you to say their name. Don't say it. Now, I'll make up a name. Get close. Switch. If you can't do that, switch the name. But I'm not. Yeah. Now this thing. You get a person got a problem in your mind. You got a person. Get a person in your mind. You got a problem. You got anybody? Not just you. Now I heard you point to you. No, you name somebody. I want to know somebody else. Got to be somebody else. You ready? You got somebody in your mind? You got somebody in your mind? Somebody that you know that has a problem. They got an issue. Got a sin problem. Got an issue. Anybody got somebody in your mind? Okay. Now let's talk about how you see them. Okay. Looking at the 4 lenses, where did their problem start? Rear. Where did it start? Rear. Where did their problem start? Rear. What happened to them that you can say? This happened to them, and this is, don't say, we forget their name for now. What happened to them? How would this book help them? Analyze them in the context of this book. See, make it personal. What happened to them in the context of this book? Can you think of it? What happened to them? Look, you reading this book, how does this book apply to them?
I'm trying to think the right words about people not recognizing their pain and just ignoring it. And when you ignore it, it just grows more.
See. Now we're taking a book and applying it. So we're not just reading a book. We're saying, okay, I know people. If I look at their rear view, I can see how they got to where they are presently. I can see the bigger picture. I see it's not just he's this or they are that. That's not labeling them and calling them a name and saying what they are and picking the worst verse in the Bible that describes their challenge and then putting my own personal spin on it. It's really interesting. Now make it personal. You ready? Let's not talk about them. Let's talk about you. I want you to think about the worst thing about you. The worst thing that you don't want anybody in this room to know that you did. I don't want nobody to know. Don't want anybody to know. That thing right there. There you go. That's it. Oh, hey, don't remind me, Pastor Rick. Don't remind me. Okay. What happened to you in the rear matters. Now, I can jump in here and give you a summation and quote a verse to you, right? And I can describe your issue in my own words. But what am I missing? I'm missing your past. What else am I missing? Come on, talk to me. What am I missing? What am I missing? You're a thinker. What am I missing?
Say that.
Judge your issue. When I say, okay, so the thing you just thought about, what am I missing if I judge you?
Really, you're missing context for me.
Mm-hmm.
You want to jump in this? I see you.
Yeah, no, I think one of the things that we miss most is not recognizing that we are dealing with a person. So often we start with an issue versus just, let me just talk to you. And the women really get it because we get the, oh my God, you're so nice. I thought you were. No, you didn't. You never took the time to just see. As a sidebar, and I can say this, and as a family member, little fellow, and he was really mean to the I got some grits on my chin. Oh, okay. But he was really mean to his sister. And you got to realize I didn't see him growing up, and this is early on when I was around him. And I was so upset with how he treated his sister. I was bent on say you're sorry. I didn't know his tongue was tied. So I'm there with him in front of me. Say you're sorry. Dad, you're so mean, so mean. And he said, I was like, it's a spirit in this boy. He has a speech impediment. He couldn't say it.
That's what I was saying too. Like, when you don't know the context, you don't know reasons why. And I think, we had this big thing in the world several years ago, name your why. Because sometimes if we can't name our why, we don't know who, or if we can't name our why, we don't know reasons. And so it's not, maybe their reason is not always relatable to you, but it is a reality to them,
Well, I like this. You're thinking.
And that's one thing I really loved about this book, that it allows you, if you will let it allows you to see life in the context of a bigger picture. And my problems may be my problems, but you may have the same problem. But unless I'm not informed of that in relationship, then I have no idea. So my pain, I sit in my pain and I don't grow. I'm stifled. Then I become judgmental. I become fixated on, well, why this happened to me and all of that. But this book just does a very beautiful job of helping us, if we allow it, to see, I may not have to change anything, but just the way I see my world. And once I change that, then everything really is going to change because I'm changed from the inside out.
Now, don't let me forget to come back to church, big church, and how this, what you just said, is so important, because big church can lose sight of all this. And I'll come back.
So I'm a substance abuse therapist. And one thing that we teach, or one thing that I always say to them, substance is something that you do. That's not your who. That's what you do. And try to figure out why you do what you do. Not in the sense that you're justifying the behavior, but understand how you got here, the pain that kind of drove you to that place.
Now let me ask this question. So here we are talking, right? I'm interested in how churches miss this. So the typical religious person believes in order to grow, you have to come to church, go to worship, and hear a sermon, and the word will change your life, right? Okay. What's missing in that format? Putting into practice, what else is missing? I mean, from in other words, look at it this way. I don't want to tell you. You want to guess? What are you going to say? What it is?
You miss the personal interaction. You don't know the person, so you really can't speak to the person. You don't know the context. You don't know anything. You don't have any background, no relationship. That's it. Yeah.
So Jesus is going to say, God's going to save the world, right? God's got a plan to save the whole world, right? Everybody's all jacked up. Millions of people, billions of people messed up. His plan is to send Jesus here, and he's going to get how many disciples? Why not 1,200? Why not 12,000? Why not have a mega church? Too many opinions. Why not a big group? Because they can focus on each other. There's no connection. So the mega church dream of growing really big and really large, what are the flaws in that? Whoa. What is it?
We've forgotten each one reach one, which brings relationship. So I have a relationship with her, and our relationship, then she has a relationship with Karita, and Karita knows me through her, and then I get to know Karita. We each one reach one, and we've forgotten that.
And I think too, a lot of times with huge, colossal churches like that, some people go to hide there because there's no accountability. Sometimes there's a loss of oversight. And if you're one of those individuals that feels like, I go to church just on a perfunctory level, well, then I'm going to put my time in, I'm going home. But there's nothing in it that sometimes, I'm not saying everybody, that speaks to, I want a relationship. And it's very easy to hide and not feel the need to want to be in an atmosphere like this where you really get an opportunity to learn and grow and be vulnerable and be transparent. So you just keep it simple, go to church, and then you're done.
Now, let me say this. Think about it this way. I'm not against big, right? We got right at 3,000 members, 2,500 active members, blah, blah, blah. That's great. I'm happy about that. But it allows us to do a lot of cool things, right? You have more money, you have more space, blah, blah, blah. But the problem is, if you don't get back to this, then you start seeing through a false lens. You make some assumptions. Bigger is better. People are growing because they're shouting and falling out, or because they all came and jammed in the room. So everything we have, we judge the success by how many people came to it. When we talk about it, we say it was really emotional. It was great. People were crying. Altar was full. But at the end of the day, everybody at the altar goes home. Nobody knows anybody. Nobody follows up. There's no way to connect the dots. And we start seeing through a false lens. And what we don't see is the higher lens. God's looking down and he's saying, hey, they're on drugs. They need some private conversation. They don't know how to manage their money. They're struggling with their identity because of what happened in their rear view. Their present context. They're in a home. In this environment, nothing will ever be okay until they get new friends. Their present environment is working against their success. And so here you are thinking because they come to church, they're okay. And you only create events that magnify that. So you suck up, here we go, watch this, all their time, revivals, gatherings, conferences, big events. Then you ask for more money than they can give because they normally don't have much cash, depending upon who you're talking about. I was astonished when I learned that the average African-American has $1,500 cash. Average white person has $9,000. So when you ask them for $1,000 gift, that's why the room is silent. When you ask for $100, the room is silent. Now, I understand that's not true for everybody, because I know some rich people in here. Anyway, Trudy said, leave me alone. No, but I mean, I know some entrepreneur people, all of us in here. But here's the point. That was cold, Pastor Rick. But the point is, there's something about understanding context. So Jesus had 12 people, and he saw through all four lenses. He knew their history. He was probably the guy who added on to their houses because he's a carpenter. He knew that's why I think there's so many things in the New Testament that people forget. It's all about getting you to a place of wholeness. And that's what Jesus, when he said to the disciples, come follow me, he knew those guys. He'd seen them before. They weren't new to him. They fished with him. He bought their fish. They were around each other. What's missing in our context today? We see through a very blind lens, and we think we know people, but we don't know people. And we don't know each other, and there's no intimate fellowship. So you hop from church to church to church to church to church, looking for something you can't find, because what you need is this. That's why, to me, this is so crucial and so important, because we need to find a way to read together, grow together, and think together. We need to go through books and materials and scripture and those things in a way that allows us to have this kind of conversation, so that we can maybe find ways to heal not only our own hearts, but the people that we're dealing with who are hurting. Somebody called me last night. 11:30. I thought you did 11:30. I look at my phone. I said, I am not answering that. No, I am not. It's 11:30. I'll talk to you later. He called back. I said, okay. So I answered the phone, but changed his name to protect the innocence. His name Ted. His name ain't Ted. Ted called me. I said, Ted, what is up? You know I'm old. I'm 65 and it's 11:30. What's up? Now, here's what Ted did. Ted said, well, I tell you, Pastor Rick, I just got out of prison in June. And this dude done disrespect my mama. He yapped at my mama. So, Pastor Rick, you know what I did? I said, we need to have a conversation, man to man. Because you can yap at my mama. Now, I'm going to tell you what you do. You come over here and apologize, and it won't be nothing. Shake your hand, man to man. You realize you was wrong. He said he ain't apologizing for nothing, and he cussed. That's it, Pastor Rick. Hands on. I told him, don't come back over here. If I see you, going to be hands on. What you think about that, Pastor Rick? First of all, I'm glad I answered the phone. What did Ted need from me? Perspective. You just got out of prison, Ted. Okay, let's not go back. What did he do to your mama? What did he say? Well, he said a little, he didn't hit her nothing. They had a little disagreement. I said, did your mama talk to him? Yeah, my mama said I can handle my own business. I don't need you to get involved. I said, yeah, but you should have told me what he did. But since you told me, now I'm going to handle it. See, I said, okay, now I need you to stop being the family police. So we had this long, great conversation. And in the day, he said, okay, I'm going to tell you what. I'll tell you my rule. Whatever you say, I'm going to do. What should I do, Pastor Rick? Well, he did do a little damage to some of the guy's property. I'll leave it there. I won't say what he did. I said, let's go pay for that. He said, okay, I'll pay for that. I got the money. I'll pay for that tomorrow. I said, but if I see him, I said, I need you to talk to me about that now. So we had our little conversation, and here's the deal. What I did one-on-one was change the lens he looked through. I took him to the higher view. He got 5 children. You just got out of prison. Let's not go back. You got a good job. I don't know how he got out of prison and get them good job. He got a good job, made a lot of money. I said, you just get out of prison. He's one of them people. He's always got a good job, always got money, got a house. Matter of fact, the guy that did this was living with him. had moved in, and he said, now, you can't come back, Pastor Rick. If you come back now, I'm going to lay hands on him. I said, okay, let's. So my point was, notice the power of shifting his lens. And then he said this at the end. Would you pray a prayer for me, Pastor? He always said that. Would you pray a prayer for me? I said, all right. So we prayed. I said, you got me? You got me. I said, I got it. I promise you, I'm going to pay for it tomorrow. Nah, but I don't want him to say nothing crazy to me now. I'm going to tell you now, Pastor Rick. But I'm going to do exactly what you told me. The power of the lens. Here's what I want you to take this book and do. I want you to take this book, change your lens. I want you to look at people differently. I want you to be more consistently concerned about their perspective. And I want you to let this book be a guide to you. It doesn't mean anything, it only benefits you. Let God use you to take somebody that you're teaching in that class on drugs, change their perspective, turn their view around. Now, here's another thing I want to say to you. Christians are always trying to find somebody across the world to save. Start with your own family. Evangelism should start in your own family. The people that you know, the people that are close to you. Your brother needs a few minutes with you. So, any questions, comments?
But I was looking at the part of the book where it talks about the gifts of interruptions. And when you were talking about the young man that contacted you, it's 11:30 at night, and you started not to answer, but you said, let me answer this phone call at 11:30 at night. Because he called you back. Yeah. But I think about the gift of interruptions. It could have been, an inconvenience, but look what you've done now. Look at the impact of you answering that phone call that time of night and how that may possibly change the whole trajectory of that family and the man who assaulted his mother or whatever. And just, it was maybe inconvenient, but still that had an impact on that young man. And I think about too, for me, and I love that part, as a foster parent, sometimes you feel kind of like caught in, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, or raising children. And sometimes I felt very inconvenient by that because I could be doing this, I could be doing that. I felt like sometimes, the mom was going off living her life here. I'm taking care of your kids and I'm doing all this. But now when I look back when I look at it now in the right lens, like you named gift of interruption, how now the opportunity God gave me to be a foster parent, how that has impacted this family's life and these children's lives. And now they are my children now, and how much I love them and how God has given me the capacity to know that I can love outside of anybody else's circumstances or their pain, their suffering, because I allow my life to be interrupted. And you allowed your life to be interrupted that night. And look what happened.
Let me tell you a quick story. This came to my mind. I was at I won't say the store. I was at a store. I'll just say that because I want you may know the person. I was at a store, and I was getting my car. I was leaving. I was minding my own business. I was getting in the car, and I need to say it this way so you can catch the ethnic flavor of this. The white guy and the black guy. Something happened where they had a moment of some kind of verbal conflict. I don't know what it was. I don't know how it happened, but all I know was the black guy had a girlfriend, a wife, or whatever, and two kids and a kid in the back of seat. And it was, and I'm about to drive off and I hear them beefing. I'm thinking about, let me drive off faster. But the black guy said, I'm going to go to my trunk and fix you up. Spirit of God, something came on me. Get out the car. Get out the car. Help the brother out. Don't let it happen. No. And I'm sitting there thinking, no violence. I might get her. Oh, get out the car. My wife's with me. Diane's with me. This ain't good. Got Diane with me. Got kids. So I walk in and I take a chance. I said, hey, bro. Hey, man. Hey. Wait a minute. And here's what happened. Oh, hey, Pastor Rick. Oh, another point. I got a point on the. There you go. That's right. I am Pastor Rick, bro. Man of God, trying to talk to you. Come away from your trunk. The guy's looking terrified. It's bad. And the girl in the car is looking at me like, thank God you showed up because it was going to be bad. Talk them through it. Think long term, bro. Come on, man. Let's calm it all down. I see him sometime later, and she says to me when I walk off, thank you. Thank you. And he later on said, yeah, Pastor Rick kept me out of jail that day. I was going to pop a cap on him. I mean, he was mad about something. I don't know what it's all about. But there are moments, all I did was help him see from the higher view. I need you to get up here with me, man. I need you for a minute. Look in the car. You got your wife, you got your kids. Whatever he said to you ain't worth that. And the poor guy's going, yeah, it ain't worth that. he was so scared he wasn't even moving. You know, if somebody tell me they're going to shoot me, I'm running. You got to catch me on the run. I ain't standing there. You know, something going to have to happen. But that, hide behind the car or something. Yeah, I'm telling you, it was a bad moment. But your point is well taken. Now, I want to switch gears for a minute because I got 6 more minutes. I want to introduce you to our, did you enjoy this conversation? Did you really enjoy the conversation? Good. This next book that we're going to pick up and read is called Winning, The War in Your Mind. I mentioned it in Church Sunday. It's going to be all the book that we're going to read. And this is absolutely phenomenal. It's a good book. And I love the fact that he says, your mind, your life is going in the direction of your strongest thoughts. If you look at your life right now and you look around you, where your mind is, your mind is going. Your life results are a result of how you think. So, I mean, that is absolutely profound to me. Who has known me the longest in here? Probably. Who's been to church the longest? John. Bam. Bam. Joan just took a book like that. Said, "Oh, she didn't." Rest of y'all didn't even compete with her. She said, "1978. I get the book. Pass it to me, Pastor. The youngest. No, the youngest. You one of the richest too. So no, no. But you got to hook up though. But there is a powerful." Great. There is a powerful message in the book that I like. He studies science, and I really believe in this, science and theology, and looks at how the brain and how your thought process affects everything. Now, since you deal with this a lot, right? What do you think of how much does that ring in your mind when I say the science of how you think and addiction specifically?
From cognitive behavioral therapy, and it talks about awareness. So it starts with the situation, and it goes with the thought, and that thought becomes a feeling, and then that feeling becomes usually a behavior or outcome.
Say that again. They need to get that. All right. Say it all over again.
Okay, so it starts with the situation, okay, and then you have to process, your thought. You get a thought. So something happens, you think about it, and based on that thought, you have a feeling. You start to feel a certain way. And then based on that feeling, there's an action. So an action, usually a behavior comes, which gives you a negative or positive outcome.
Okay, so again, here I go again. You ready? How do churches and sermons miss? How do they define all that? What language do they use to define what she just said? Judgment, or they'll say it's what? Sin. Church. We start talking church stuff. Right? It's the flesh. It's carnal thinking. Got any more? Sin nature. Anything else? So what happens is what she just said, you get, right? And what we do is we take the blame off of you being a bad person and say there was a situation. The situation caused me to have some feelings, thoughts. And those thoughts turned into feelings. Oh, he's yapping on my mama, right? And so that situation was the mama said something to the guy, and then he said something to the guy's mama, heard it. He had a feeling about what the guy say. Then there you go, laying on the hands. See, all of that is easier to understand than what we say in church. So that's why you can hear a message. And so, for example, you can say to a person, you shouldn't be doing that. That's sinful. But you need to understand what's in their mind. You need to understand what they're thinking about, what is going through their mind. Where's my other book at? Is there another? There's a handbook. Did I have the handbook? Oh, sorry. Thank you. Sorry. I got it. Thank you. So this book is about, this is the workbook 2 version of it. Winning the war in the mind is a great place to start. Addictions, bad habits. This is going to help you with all of that. Frustrations, anger management, all of that. And so I want you to get a copy of it. Join me in the digital world or get a hard copy, and God will bless you, and it's going to be great. All right. Thank you for your time. You know, I like timeliness. We got 2 minutes. Miss Bishop, you want to say anything? Once a quarter. What do you think about that? Is that two? Is that enough?
Yes, that's
That's sweet spot. We like it. Do you like, now what'd you like about today? Amazing. What else do you like? What'd you like about today? Dialogue, conversation, gave you another perspective. Plus you got a free book, right? Uh-huh. Anything else? Couple of laughs, absolutely. Miss Byers, you're one of the smartest people I know in the world. What do you think about this again today?
I think it is really, really important that we do get together and have these conversations, because hearing the different perspectives helps you raise your perspective. And also, you know, on that lens, as an educator, I just love this kind of thing. So pretty quiet, because I like to hear and reflect, and then I can come up with something, because you're not supposed to talk a whole lot unless you have something of value to say, right?
Do you think you get to know me better? Okay, so what did you learn about your pastor that you didn't know before? What's better about this? This is not like preaching the sermon, that's fun, but what's different about this in sermons? Last question for today.
I think this gives us an opportunity to see you and hear you on a personal level, and that you engage with us, and that you see us, not that seeing us in that from the pulpit, but you actually see us, and you're relatable. Yes. Yes.
I'll take that. What else you learn? What'd you learn? Yes.
I learned that you're human, just like everybody else. You have real life issues. You have an opinion. And, you know, usually on Sundays when we see you in the pulpit, it's like, oh, that's the pastor. So it's God and then it's the pastor. But like, you're just a regular person.
Tell you what I learned. He a smart dude. Bam. Love that when that brother framed that stuff.
Okay, I think giving your example with the guy in the phone call, that you are, or you're human just like us, because it would have been like, why is she calling me at 11:30? You know, I'm sleepy, I'm tired. But then there was something in you, or that you listened to that inner voice that said, I need to take this call. And that happens, you know?
Yeah. And I think the platform and the interaction helps to forge that intimacy and relationship within the group.
This is how you grow a church. This is how you grow a church. What'd you learn?
That you take calls at 11:30 now.
No. I'll give you a quick. I'll give you a quick backstory. He has called me several times when he was high. He's called me, but he called earlier, and I've known him since he was in high school. And so he would call. He called about before he went to prison 2 years ago. So he called me. I said, "Listen, let's make an agreement. I need you to be sober when you call me, so we can talk for real." All right, Pastor Rick. I told you I'm gonna do what you say. Not gonna call you when I'm like this. But he said, I'm calling you so you can help me see. I'm having a hard time seeing. And he was in beef with somebody else. So my point, when I saw the phone, I said, now, you know what? I hope you ain't high at 11:30 calling me. I done told you. So I'll talk to you later. I'll call you tomorrow. I'm calling back tomorrow. But he called back again. I said, okay, now I know something must be up. And that's and he wasn't high either. He was sober as can be. Praise the Lord. Thank God. Amen. 11:30. I do not take calls for all the time at 11:30. It's been great. Anybody else? Anything else? All right. All right. Any final words on the book? Did you like the book? What did you like about the book? Let's see if you can summarize what everybody said.
I mean, the stories. I like the fact that she was so honest and open about her life. The stories that she told was like kind of personal. It wasn't kind of abstract, like, oh, this is how you live your life. It was touching. It really got to me, at least, And it was really a good book.
Really good book.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're going to give you a prize. Give me listen, look here. Because tell him your name.
Mervyn Lewis.
Mervyn Lewis. You get a book as a gift from us. That's the next book. See? That's right. That's right. No, we're going to give you that. That's our gift to you. Thank you for coming out and making it happen. That's all. Let's all stand together. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being online. God bless you all. You were quiet out there today, but God bless you all for being with us today. Give them all a big hand. Those who watched online, God bless you. Thank you so much. Katia, hey girl, how you doing? I see you out there holiday, man. I feel you. God bless you all. Thank you for saying hi. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this time together. We thank you for our connection. We pray that we grow and touch lives and more people will be blessed to what we do. And may we become lights in the world to make a difference in Jesus' name. Everybody say amen. God bless y'all. Take care. Bye. See you later. Bye-bye online. Take care.